So you see, as mix engineers, when we are hired to work on a song, we are expected to improve the record, make it sound better than it was when it was sent to us, and make it able to compete in the market with other properly mixed songs. And if you're like me, you'll agree it's a very enjoyable yet challenging job to do. Oftentimes, when these records come in, it sounds as though the mix engineer was not considered at all during the creation process. So I decided to make this video and point out some things that has been bothering me, and any other mix engineer would agree with me. If these tips could be adhered to or considered, we would be able to record and produce records as producers with mix engineers in mind. You see, being a mix engineer, your primary role is solving problems. So if you, as a producer or an artist, send a record to an engineer, you don't expect them to fix what's not broken or do too much to the mix to a point where it sounds different from your initial ideas or anything like that. But the thing is, yeah, the more problems that he encounters, he will attempt to solve them. And the more problems he attempts to solve, the farther away he will sound from your original idea. Half the time, producers and artists do not like to hear something coming back to them sounding very different. They just want to tell you, oh yeah, just make it sound better than this, not sound better than what I sent you, not change the whole record for me. But this is almost impossible if things in the production, like the arrangement, were not properly done in the first place. So you see example times where producers, they are in a session, the creative juices are flowing, everything sounds great and exciting, and they just add too many elements that are not supposed to be there. So in the conversation of music creation, when you talk about things that should be done and things that shouldn't be done, there's always a counter argument about, oh, you can't tell me what to do. Music is art. I can do anything. Yeah, I totally agree that music is art. But at the same time, there's certain things you just can't do. For instance, you cannot produce a song, a pop song in 2024 or 2025, whenever you watch this video, and pan the kick to the left or to the right, hard right or hard left. We don't pan kicks. Yes, it's creative, it's artistic to do certain things in records. Yes, there might be no rules, but at the end of the day, music is science as well. There are rules to it. We mix in a digital domain. We have a headroom. We've got a limit that we just cannot go above. You cannot say, because I'm trying to be artistic, I'll put a sub bass playing, and at the same time I found an 808 that sounded really cool, and I added the 808 on top of the sub bass, and at the same time there were log drums and I added the log drums on top of the 808, and at the same time there was maybe a bass guitar playing solos, and you just add it. So there's 4 bass elements playing at the same time, and you expect the mix to come out sounding clean. And you tell the mix engineer, I want to hear everything individually. It should sound clean. You just cut off too many things, or you made them too low. It's not going to work like that. Because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean that you should do those things. If you're a producer and you intend to make great music, you have the mix engineer in mind. You will know that it is always been great practice to have fewer things in the mix. As a matter of fact, the lesser things in the mix, the lesser the elements in the song, the better the mix will sound. I'm telling you this for a fact. Look back in history of music production, mix engineering. Some of the best sounding mixes have very few elements, because you have to consider your artist as well. Just like what I said before now about adding too many elements that belong in the same frequency range. You should be able to arrange your productions properly, where this element feels in the low end, this element feels in the mid range, this element will feel in the top range. And then remember that an artist will come on this song and sing or rap. So if you're expecting to have vocals on a track, you cannot just play everything that you can find. Lead instruments, accompanying instruments, there's percussions, there's tonal instruments, rhythmic instruments, and you just put everything, fill up every space. It's not about the space that you fill, it's about the space that you leave out. Trust me, it might sound counterintuitive, but music is organized sound. Organized in the sense that it has a pattern. There's tonal and rhythmic principles that you have to follow, regardless how creative you think you are trying to get with the process. As producers also, we tend to, I say we because I produce as well. I used to produce. I mean, I haven't been doing a lot of it recently, but I'm trying to get back into my production bag. And yeah, when we want to have the impression like, yeah, my beat slaps or it's hard, I'm just saying, We make the instrumentals so loud, the elements are so loud, they're clipping. And by the time it gets to the mix engineer, it's already distorting, it's already clipping. And you're thinking as an engineer, yo, how do I ever make this? How do I push this further? When you're already clipping and you're not loud and you expect the song to sound a certain way in the production stage, the mix engineer can't really do much because you've smashed the life out of all the elements, or you put some limiter on your tracks, and everything just sounds too flattened out. If you don't know what you're doing for sure, don't do it. If you're producing, have the mix engineer in mind. Yes, make your sound selection proper. If you're looking for kicks or snares, look for a good sounding kick. Look for a good sounding snare. Don't just drag any audio file of a sample of a kick and think, oh, it sounds wobbly right now, but it'll be fixed in the mix. The mix engineer will make the kick sound harder. No, it doesn't work that way. You cannot polish a turd. It's a giggle, garbage in, garbage out. If it's good audio coming in, good audio will go out. Just like you don't want to send in clipping audio files or samples. You don't want to send in low quality drum samples or low quality instrument samples. Invest in your sound as a producer, and you need to acknowledge that the final sound is very much dependent on what you put in. As a mix engineer, I receive stems from producers and artists that are properly done, recorded in really good studios, proper microphones, the interface, the production quality is really good. And those are songs that I am very proud to work on. I work on these records and it's a joy. It's a pleasure because everything sounds good already. You're just trying to balance things out and fix the problems that might not even be existence in the first place. So you cannot compare records like that to records that are low input, bad microphone, noisy cables, low quality drums, and you expect it to sound like the properly done ones. That's not going to work either. Also, on the part of producers, there's a certain habit that some producers have of not assigning their tracks properly. So they could route a kick and a bass guitar into one channel and export that for you. So now you have one channel labeled kick, and you realize, oh, the kick has a bass in it too. Now I don't have access to the bass. I cannot treat the bass as a bass. I have to do some technical and musical kung fu to be able to figure out how to treat the bass in the kick track. It's difficult. You can't do that. Pay more attention and route your tracks accordingly. Put your kicks in a different track and put your bass in different tracks. Separate these things if you know they are different elements and different sound groups. Except, oh, yeah, sometimes we receive actual stems, because stems are not supposed to be trackouts. They're different things, but oftentimes mixed up with each other. But if you're sending me your drum bus, I get it. Maybe that's just how you want it to sound. I'll work with that. But if it's something where you're sending me a lead instrument like a saxophone along the accompanying instrument like a piano segments, that the segment has been repeatedly looping the whole song, it's hard for me to treat the lead instrument as a solo instrument now because it's already merged and embedded into the one that's repeating itself. Try to pay attention to your track assignments and it'll help you a ton. On the side of vocals, I cannot stress it enough. The right amount of level is key to getting proper results. If you're recording vocals and your vocals are too loud, there's nothing I can do in post. If the vocals are coming in too hot, they're clipping, they're already mashing your ceiling, and they look like this, I can't do nothing. You gotta record vocals in a way where it's not too loud, but it's loud enough. That way, the signal to noise ratio is enough for me to work with and try to gauge your voice, take the noise out and still not affect what you're saying or make you sound funny. And on the flip side of being too loud comes being too low. I receive recordings that are so low, it's almost invisible in the DAW. You have to zoom it in and manually gain the audio track. And mind you, these things are not recorded in 32-bit float or anything like that. It's just the regular 24-bit recordings, which is fine. But if you don't gain stage your microphone when it's coming in, it can't be fixed in post. If your vocals are too low and I try to boost it to be as loud as it's supposed to be, I'm bringing up all that noise with me now. I'm taking up all of the noise from the noise floor, the cables, the hum in the background from your speakers, from your electricity, the conversations in the background. I'm bringing everything up. And when it gets like that, trust me, the mix is not going to come out great. It will not be clean. I'll have to overcompensate for it, run into more problems than even solving these problems. And also, as artists, you can find a song really really nice and interesting, or for whatever reason, and you end up adding too much vocals into it. I get it. It's different if you're recording like a choir effects or choir feel, or you're putting backups. But let it be that your backups are strategic. Let your ad-libs be intentional. Don't just record vocals because you have all the ideas. So when you look at melodies, right? Every melody can come in three ways. At least three ways. Two ways even. Whatever. But you know what I'm saying? If you're singing something, there's always a second part to it that you could sing for the same thing. There's always a third part to it. What you don't want to do is sing all of the parts that come to your head for every single line. So you're singing a lead line, and then maybe it's a treble, for instance, and the alto of that comes into your mind, and you record it. You record the tenor of it, you record the bass of it, and it's like that the whole song. And then you put all the backups and all the ad-libs that come to your mind, and you send everything to me, and you want me to say, oh, now that you listen to the song, it sounds lousy to you, but you want me to make it balanced. So you're telling me, when it gets to the engineer, he will fix it. The engineer will know how to make it sound good. I won't know how to make it sound good because you want to hear everything. It's not possible for you to hear everything and for the song to still exist in harmony with the instrumental like that. There's lead elements and there's backing elements. I cannot make all the parts visible. If I turn them down, it will definitely sound different from what you heard when you were recording. So do not put too much vocals in your recordings. Be intentional with your recordings. If you don't need to back it up, leave it alone. If you don't need to add that ad-lib, just leave it alone. And on the flip side of recording too much vocals in one project is not recording enough vocals in one project. So you have a song, you got the instrumental, and you just do like a one take type of thing where you record from top to the end in one take. I'm not saying one take is bad. Of course, there's people who do one take and they're very talented to do it that way. And this totally depends on the style of music. It doesn't work for all the record types or all the genres. It is very project specific. But I'm talking from the perspective of an Afrobeat engineer, a hip hop engineer, an R&B engineer. When you need to add the backups, add the backups. And when you need to do different takes, do different takes and mute them in the session, or just export them and label them properly. Say alternative A, alternative B, and you can communicate with the engineer and let them know, if this doesn't work, try this one. If this doesn't work, take the other one and replace it. Because if an engineer doesn't have enough elements to work with in vocal wise, you're gonna expect a full sounding mix. More time, everything in there was just one line, one line, one line. He's now forced to use doublers and fake effects to try to make your voice more present in the song, or fuller, or I've seen projects that just have too little vocals. It's like, yo, did you really want to do this? If it's intentional, that's fine. But if it's as a result of, I didn't know I should add the backup, I didn't know I should add the ad-lib, or I didn't even know I should, I just thought that was it. I thought the extra ad-libs are the delays or the effects. No. Don't do too much, but don't do too little. Also, when you record, try to make sure that you have the proper takes. If you're singing a certain phrase or segment of the song and the section has wrong notes in it, endeavor to do it again. Try to do it again. Yes, we've got pitch correction tools and softwares, the manual ones like Melodyne, Flex Pitch, and the automatic one like the Auto-Tune, the Pitch Corrector by Logic Pro. We have all these things, but it's never the same as actually expressing yourself in the right way. If you actually listen to your recording and redo some part that you felt wasn't all right, trust me, you'll get a better results in the mix, as opposed to hoping that the producer or the engineer will fix it in the mix. certain mistakes cannot just be fixed. It just might not work. It might not come out the way that you want it to come out, because there's certain artifacts that get added to vocals when you try to pitch correct them too much. Last but not the least, I would say when you're recording vocals on a song, avoid the noise. Record if you cannot afford to be in a properly treated and acoustically treated quiet studio environment. If you're recording, because in recent times most artists are recording themselves or just in their apartments or whatever. Try not to have conversations in the background, because there's times where records are sent to mix engineers with full-blown conversations in the background. Why? Because the artists believe that the producers and the engineers have something that they do to just kill the noise. Nah, don't worry, my engineer will reduce all that noise, all that background noise will be removed. There's AI tools. Someone's gonna probably come in the comments and tell me, yeah, you're complaining, you don't know your job. Nah, that's not the thing. I can use the isotope RX and try to suppress the noise, but like I said, I'm introducing artifacts to your vocals. It's not something that you really want. It would be a lot better. You would have cleaner results recording in a cleaner environment, avoiding the room noise, avoiding the noise of humans, or don't record where there's cars outside honking and steaming. Try to record in a calm and quiet environment, and you'll have a better vocal result in your mix. If you enjoyed this video, if you found some value, please like the video, and if you consider to subscribe, I would appreciate it even more. And I made a video on this channel. It's right here. You can find some other vocal recording tips and tricks, and that will be it for now. I'll see you again sometime. Take care and goodbye.